Welcome to the Midwest Model Agency Slideshow with Starr, and this is Secrets of Photography with your host, David Whitney. And we are going to look at the slideshow and talk about how we shot this. What you're seeing right now are photos from my Nikon D600 full-frame camera, and we have one forward window that has diffused light from cloth white curtains that are translucent. Now, light is the number one important thing about photography. I've been doing photography for about 8 years now. If you think you've learned everything about photography and your camera, you never do. If you think you're done learning, then I don't think you're a good photographer. Every shoot has its challenges. Light changes throughout the day if there's clouds. In this window we set up, it didn't used to have curtains, so it was either way too harsh, too much light, or too little light. It was never good. The subject is very photogenic. The contrast with the black outfit, the black leather pants and the black jacket and black top, black shoes, black purse, is just wonderful. The hair updo took 2 hours to get this hair looking this way. She's not wearing makeup except for a little bit of mascara, and she doesn't need a lot of makeup. She has such flawless skin that we can pretty much go without it and have her natural skin. It's just absolutely gorgeous, flawless skin. I mean, no one's perfect. Come on. Okay, so looking at these pictures, we have her facing the window, and it gives us a nice shadow effect on the back of her neck and against the wall. And you have to be careful you don't overexpose when you're setting your camera settings. I'm not going to go into what camera settings I chose here. You have to learn your camera, and you have to figure out what works. Now, my photos really took off when I bought the Nikon. Now, full-frame cameras are expensive. I also took some photos of this with my Panasonic S5. So I used the Nikon D610. You know, that's not considered the highest end camera. It's an older camera, but it really performs. I have an even older D600 as a backup. It's not quite as sharp, but it's still a full frame camera. And the thing about full frame is you get so much depth of color, depth of feel, whereas a smaller frame camera like a Micro Four Thirds or a inch sensor. Her eyes are closed a little bit there. I just grabbed a whole folder basically of photos to put into the slideshow. And it's always tough because when your light is coming from the left and she's looking directly at the camera, you got the danger of having a lot of shadow create an unpleasant look on the face. And people don't realize that our faces are not flat. They're not like eggs. They're not smooth. They have ridges and bumps, and they have texture. Her face is pretty smooth. You can tell from her cheeks and her nose and her forehead. Great shot of her hair there with the wisps. The big wispies on either side of her head. The different colors in her hair. So she has brown hair, and then she's got these yellow streaks, or I wouldn't say they're highlights. They're yellow streaks in the hair. Makes it look very dramatic, and it's very pretty. I would like to see Starr with brown hair, solid brown hair, or solid blonde hair. I think she could go either way. There's another picture with her eyes half open. And this is a coral colored piece of cloth I put on the chair. So now we've got some different color going on, and you can see the color of that cloth hitting the purse, because the purse is a little reflective on the bottom and then on the side, whereas the light's coming in from the right now. It's hard to go wrong when you use diffuse window light. The best light from a window, I think, is when you're in a room that has left and right windows. You're going to get perfect light. Where you get into trouble is if you have too much light going on. So, say in that same room, you have light coming in from the ceiling. So you have 3 sources of light, right, left, and top. If this was a square and we're in the corner, you get light all around. You're going to have too much light. You're not going to get a great picture. It's just too much light bouncing around. That's why this is similar to the situation you find yourself in if you are taking photos in the evening, an hour before twilight, an hour before the sun sets. That light is coming in at angles, hitting you. It's a warm light, it's a yellow light, but you still get wonderful light at that time if you time it right. Once the sun is halfway down on the horizon, you lose so much light, it's hard to get a decent picture. And here is in the corner, you can see her looking at the camera there for a second. She was standing facing directly towards the window light. You can see how it lit up her eyes, lit up her face evenly. Now here on the bottom right, she's got the light coming from the left and the shadows to the right. Look at that one in the chair. How much light is just saturating. So you can see at this point in the photo shoot, it's as if some clouds had parted and we have light just pouring in. And because of all that light, we're seeing the detail in the jacket and in the pants, the pant leg, the lines in the floor. It makes the back wall look pure white. A little bit of shadow in the bottom, but so much fun to take photos in this window. It is a challenging spot, but you can't beat that real light. And I guess part of me wants to extend the wall, because there's basically a big oval window with curtains, and then it's just empty space of the office behind. And that wall she's standing in front of is about 10 feet wide. The floor is about 13 feet wide. The window is about 9 feet high. And there's 4 curtains hanging in front of it. That is overexposed. That's where I have opened my lens up way too much, but it still gives an interesting effect, doesn't it? And as a photographer, it's a challenge every time. Now in the right-hand corner, that is the Panasonic S5. The S5 will run 4K at 60 frames a second, and so I can slow these videos down 50%. And that's what I did here. Is that's running 60 frames a second, slow down to 30 frames every 2 seconds. So it's much smoother when you do that. It looks like she's blinking slowly, but that's just slow motion. And then so it's so nice to have both the Panasonic S5 and the Nikon D610. The combination of the two cameras, whenever I find myself in a sticky situation. The S5, I run that almost all the time on automatic, because it will adjust to the light in the room or the light outside. Rarely do I have to set the camera to manual. It seems like when I set it to manual on the S5 that it just looks darker, and it just doesn't know how. It's hard to adjust the settings on that camera, whereas with the Nikon I have instant access to the light, to the aperture, and I can adjust, open up the lens, close the lens, That's the way I look at it. And I can use flash. So in a picture like this where we've got all this shadow, right? Look at that shadow on the zoom in. Now, I think it looks really warm and pretty, but I think a lot of photographers would have a tendency to use flash right there because the left side of her face has all that shadow. But it's really not necessary. You get much more of a dramatic shot from this. And look at her looking on the bottom right. She's turned her head, so her shoulders are towards the window, and now she's turned her head to the left towards the camera. She's got a beautiful nose, doesn't she? Long neck. She's just a beautiful, beautiful young model. One of our top models, and she's very photogenic. Very easy to work with. We have a lot of petite models. We have a lot of tall models. And our focus isn't on your height. It is on your face. And so we don't focus on weight. We don't focus on... We could care less what your ethnicity is. If ethnicity is a hang-up for you, we could care less if you have a problem with ethnicity. We certainly don't virtue signal here. I certainly don't virtue signal. I could care less how God made you. I'm just looking for people that take good pictures. And so here we've got a better pose, a different pose. We've got one leg up on the chair so we can get some more angles. You know, elbows and knees are very important in fashion photography. I know a lot of times in fashion magazine, you will either see lots of elbows and knees, or you will see someone basically standing still straight up like a statue. It's very boring, but the thing is, either the ad is focusing on the clothes, or they're trying to get your attention with angles. And the whole point of angles is to get your eye back to the face. That's what it's supposed to do. And thank you for subscribing to our video channel. Thanks for being a fan. I know that a lot of you out there love our models, love what we do. We're the only agency in the United States that does what we do. No one can beat us in that regard. Thanks for watching Secrets of Photography. I don't know if I actually told you any secrets. Look at this last shot of her as she looks up. That light hitting her perfect. And she's just going to glance up, and that'll be the end of the video. Thank you, Starr. What a gorgeous kid. I love working with her and her family. That outfit was amazing.
Please remember to subscribe to our video channel, Midwest Model Agency. Thank you for subscribing to Midwest Model Agency's video channel. Hit the little bell to get notified of new videos.